Hey boys, it's been a while since I make a video, and recently I have made a homebrew class for Dungeons and Dragons 5 edition. So, um, yeah, um, I guess without further ado, let's dive into it, right? Um, actually, I wonder if I can like just PDF this motherfucker. I think it would be better to showcase and shit. Um, I'm going to like post this like for free on this video description or the comment section, whatever. So this is a class that I made, the Blood Mage, philosophy and beliefs. Basically, like actually before I dive into it, I should probably like talk a little bit about how I how can I say why I made this class, what it's about, what is the idea, sort of like. So like before playing Dungeons and Dragons, I started off playing um, GURPS, and GURPS has like a much simpler and easy to understand magic system than Dungeons and Dragons. So when I started playing D&D, it was very confusing to me, like the whole like concept of like spell slots, and like, oh, this spell slot is like level 2, and then there's like overpower, and then like it was kind of confusing. Like it took me a while to learn this, and kind of like kept me wishing like, oh, I wish there was like a simpler way, easier way to just cast magic, right? And like I remember like about like hearing some like custom like tabletop RPG systems that use HP to cast magic, and I thought, maybe I could do that. Like, I was like, wait a minute, maybe I could make a class that uses like HP to cast magic instead of going through all of this like crazy spell slot shit. And I think you'd have to be like a blood mage because it would make sense. And this is how I got into making this class pretty much. It's basically like just a wizard that uses HP to cast magic. Philosophy and beliefs, redemption and penitence. Blood mages see the practice as a form of redemption. To them, every action of worth requires an equal sacrifice. They embrace pain, torture, and humiliation as gifts that lead to growth and enlightenment. Their cycles often resemble cults more than traditional magical orders, with rigid doctrines and rituals centered around sacrifice and self-purification. Moral certainty. Blood mages believe that their way is the true path to blood, to power, and righteousness. They see their physical and magical strength as proof of their beliefs. However, within their ranks, there are both fanatical adherents and those who have strayed from the path, sometimes becoming heretical. So I tried to make like something like a lore for this that is like very like um, kind of like an open canvas, so that you can like so that you don't have to like follow like a certain restrictive like lore, because it's like this is something that I don't exactly love about like the warlock, which is that like, oh, he has to sell his soul in order to do magic. That's kind of like like I don't want to have a character who sells his soul. Like I like the class, but I don't want to have a character who has sold his soul. You know what I'm saying? Um, so this class, it's pretty like you can be like a more traditional blood mage in the sense that like you are a crazy zealot, a crazy fanatical zealot who is like all about like like you're philosophical and religious beliefs that, pain and blah 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 and suffering and all that nonsense. Or you can be like someone who just uses the order to acquire power. Like you don't really care about like the ways of the Blood Mage. Perceptions by others. Crazed fanatics. Most outside the Blood Mage cycles view them as dangerous zealots who indulge in taboo practices in a world where magic is common. Their methods are seen as extreme and unnecessary. Many consider them as to be hypocrites for using magical implements to create their scars, as it contradicts their philosophy of relying solely on themselves. Intellectual criticism, scholars and intellectuals often criticize Blood Mages for their dogmatic approach to magic. They see them as a threat, using their philosophy as an excuse to pursue greater power, potentially at the cost of their own humanity or sanity. So like, oh yeah, one more thing. Like I said that you can be like a zealot, a crazy zealot, or someone who's just like kind of a heretic. You could also be like a good Blood Mage. You could be like a Blood Mage in the more like, in the like Opus Deum, Christian kind of like, Christian, where you're like, basically you just believe that pain is a form of prayer. You believe that you are more in touch with God by hurting yourself, and that your self-indulgence in pain and stuff like that is somehow making you like redempt for your sins or something like that. So you can really like go crazy with this. You can do whatever you want. It's a pretty open like lore, so to speak. One thing that I had written here, I think I removed because maybe it was too much text. I don't remember. I forgot. It's how they cast magic. It's weird that I removed it because this is rather important. But like, basically, so like wizards and sorcerers, they use like the weave in Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. And the weave is basically like the mana. It's like some divine magical power that is in the world, and nobody really knows what it is, but it's part of nature, and it's what mages use to cast their spells and stuff like that. Now, blood mages do not like the weave. They view it as something as like unreliable and something that they should not trust in because they don't really know what it is and where it comes from, which is kind of a good argument, actually, if I do say so myself. So because of that, they found alternative methods of casting magic, which is by inscribing spell like magical like texts in their bodies as like scars or tattoos, and using their blood as the weave, right? Deities and worship. Deities of sacrifice and redemption. Blood mages often worship deities associated with sacrifice, pain, and redemption. Gods like these gods from D&D words or whatever, or mythology or whatever the fuck, would be revered for their focus on suffering and self-sacrifice. Some might even turn to darker gods like Bane, seeing their path as a test of strength and power. I will include, I will actually include, like, like how they cast magic and stuff like that, because I feel like that is quite important for anyone trying to roleplay as the blood mage. Like, sometimes like blood mages can be like quite snob, like they can like sometimes like they look at wizards and they're like, these fucking idiots, like they think they know power, like they think they understand power, but they don't even know where their power comes from. While I know where my power comes from. And blood mages sometimes can like just enjoy suffering and pain, like they can just like sometimes welcome it, view like they get hurt and their reaction is like, oh, that's like some good pain, like this is bringing me close to God, like It's quite fun to roleplay as a Blood Mage, actually. Quite, yeah. You can make like a very hysterical, like eccentric character, and it's quite interesting, I would say. So it's very fun from personal experience. Class features, hit points. He has 1d8, 1d8 hit dice, and the reason why he had like 1d8 instead of 1d6, so like he's not quite like the wizard, like the warlock. He's not trying to be like on the front line or in the middle line, like trying to do like crazy shit. He's more like a backliner. He's like a glass cannon if there was ever one. Most likely he will be like the squishier member of the party at all times because he's constantly like taking damage from his own spellcasting. The reason why I gave him like an 1d8 is just so that like he doesn't, so that like you don't accidentally kill yourself. Because this is actually like a possibility when you're playing the Blood Mage. It's like even though like his method of spellcasting is simpler, it is also like a rather difficult to play with class because you can absolutely like die on accident. So there's that. Very difficult to play. I mean, I wouldn't say like very difficult. I feel like it's not that hard, but it's like it's hard. I gave it like only 1d8. I didn't go like crazy, like going like to give it like 1d10 or 1d12, because 1d12 is just like bottom line unnecessary. Like that's like for tanks and like for tanks that like it's bottom line for tanks only. And 1d10, while not being like that powerful, it would still open like it would make it like it would still be good enough to the point where like you can kind of abuse this. You can just kind of like no, I wouldn't say like abuse. I would say more like it can get to the point. I mean, I guess some subclasses can kind of abuse this. But I feel like he would get to the point where his HP, like casting, like his blood casting, would feel inconsequential. Like you don't really feel like you're paying anything. Like if like HP has to be like a rather limited resource for you to use when you're casting spells, kinda. So like the proficiencies are like like pretty standard: armor, none; daggers, quite a blah blah blah. Basic shit. Tools, none. Doesn't need any. Saving throws is Constitution and Intelligence, which is pretty fucking strong for a spellcasting. I mean, Intelligence is like kind of whatever. Like it could also be like Charisma and like Wisdom. Wisdom would be like fucking bonkers. I guess technically like Charisma would be better because it could synergize with like something like a Sorcerer or a Warlock if you're like multiclassing. You're multiclassing into like an Artificer or Wizard or Wizard wouldn't be like too good. I guess Artificer would be alright if you want to make like a Battle Mage. But yeah, I mean intelligence is kind of whatever, but Constitution for a mage is bonkers because not only this really helps you like because like you're gonna be putting points on Constitution because you're going to get like more HP, which like you're basically getting like spell slots every time you get an HP, right? And saving throws is going to help you so that you don't die from like poison or something like that, which is very fun. So yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, intelligence is what they use to cast magic. In case, just yeah, that's what I was going for? Sorry, I forgot. Um, I kind of went on a tangent. I was going about like sorcerers and warlock, and I forgot to mention that like they use intelligence to cast. That's why I said that they can multi-class pretty good into artificer and not so good into the others. But whatever. I still think charisma would be bonkers because and charisma wouldn't really fit the class. I don't feel like because like charisma would give you like persuasion, which is like in my opinion like the best skill in the game. In my opinion. While intelligence is going to give you like more like mage-like shits like arcana and insight, which makes more sense. Insight's still pretty good, but you know. Skills: Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, Religion, Arcane stuff? Sorry. This is not supposed to be here. Whatever. Equipment. Arcane Staff, Dagger. A. Arcane Staff or Scholar Pack. B. Dagger or Explorer Pack. And an arcane focus such as a ritualistic dagger or similar item. So you can like have like your character be like his arcane focus is like a ritualistic dagger that like he stabs himself into like to get like a pinch of his blood and use it, and it's probably a good idea for you to have like a ritualistic dagger as a focus item because some of his spells as like materials they have like the cost of 1 pinch of blood, so it's pretty, you know. This is like the Blood Mage level progression. He's a mage, right? So he doesn't really get a lot of features. You pretty much just get like subclasses. You know, like you get like features until level 3 and your subclass, of course, which is on level 2. And then it's basically just like, like, oh, subclass, improvement, subclass, improvement, subclass, improvement, and then some stuff here, and it's pretty whatever, you know. One thing I want to say, the reason why he gets like subclass on level 2, which is like pretty rare for classes to have to get like subclass on level 2, pretty much, I think like only the wizard gets their subclass on level 2, is because on level 3 he gets like to level 2 of magic spell casting. And this is kind of like a huge buff to him already. So getting like a subclass on top of that would be too much of a level spike for no reason. So yeah, to keep it like, consistent like level spikes and stuff like that. And at level 1 he already gets like 3 spells and blood magic. So he doesn't really need like on level 1 because he already gets a lot on level 1. And yeah, let's go to the features. Blood magic. 3 cantrips of your choice from the Blood Mage spell list. I don't know why it's saying wizard spell list. That's kind of weird, actually. I'm pretty sure I had like fixed this. I guess I did the thing. I fixed this and then I probably Ctrl Z at one point and it erased my change. Learn additional Blood Mage spells according to the Blood Mage table. These spells are inscribed onto your skin using your own blood during a ritual that takes 1 hour per spell level. So like this is like, it's kind of like the wizard. In the sense like, when you learn a new spell, you don't just like get it. You have to like go through the like inscribing ritual so that you can then start using your spell. But this is kind of like the sorcerer where like all of your spells are prepared. They are immutable. Like this is like, I feel like this is like, it's kind of hard to play this class. You cannot change your spell casts when you level up. Like they are permanent, so you gotta choose them like rather carefully. I would say so. casting with HP. To cast a spell, you expend hit points equal to 1d4 per level of the spell. For example, casting a 3d level spell costs 3d4 HP. Cantrips cost 1 HP. You do not use spell slots. Spells cast using this feature can't restore hit points or grant temporary hits. The reason for that is because like if you can like because you have like unlimited like spell casting essentially, so long as you have HP, and if you can heal yourself, then you can break, like you can create a loophole. Literally, you can like you can be like, oh, I am going to just like produce food now. I'm just going to create food, and then I'm going to heal myself, and then create more food, and then I'm going to open like a huge market with the food that I create. Like I'm going to create like a whole supermarket with the food that I'm creating. Like I'm breaking the market because I'm creating infinite valuables with my infinite refillable like mana, right? It would be broken by all accounts. It creates a loophole, so healing is absolutely not allowed when you're casting with HP. Spellcasting ability. Intelligence is your spellcasting ability for your spells. For Blood Mage spells. Gosh, you know what? Like this triggered me. This actually triggered me. I don't know why it's saying wizard. I really don't know why. Like it shouldn't even. Like I really don't know like how I got to that point. But that was just is. I think I actually like copy and pasted like the stuff from the but I didn't though. I don't know why that happened. I really don't know how that happened. Where is the? Where is it? What the fuck? Did I close it on accident? I think I closed it. Let me reopen. Okay. You also get like an additional like talent, which is pretty good actually. You can create blood crystals. During a short rest, you can create a blood crystal using the blood of a creature with a challenge rating, CR, of 1 or higher. The crystal has charges equal to 1d4 times the creature's CR. And then you can use the charges from the blood crystal to pay for vials of blood when casting spells. Because vials of blood is a very common like material for your spell casting, and it's something that like it could become like rather troublesome and inconspicuous if like this red hooded mage is just carrying like with him like a bunch of like sacks of blood or vials of blood. It would be really fucking weird and suspicious. So you can just carry like blood crystals, and yeah, sure, some wizards would still know what you're up to, but it's more convenient and makes more sense for your lore. This is pretty much just like for RP, pretty much for RP rather than and I guess some level of convenience, rather than like for like a true like in combat advantage or anything like that. This is level 3. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is on level 3. During a short or long rest, you can regain HP equal to your Constitution modifier plus your Blood Mage level. You can only use this feature if you have expended HP to cast spells since your last short rest. So obviously, like since you're always like stabbing yourself to cast magic, you would normally have like some more durability than normal people. I guess it makes sense. This is like pretty much again like so that you don't like waste too much. It's so that you don't undo yourself by accident. If you know what I mean. And then like some high level features. Level 18, you add your Constitution modifier to your death saving throws. Blah 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 blah. So you don't lose your character on accident. And then level 20, when you reduce a creature to 0 HP with a spell, you regain HP equal to 3 times the spell's level plus your Constitution modifier. Which I guess is pretty much like the only way that the Blood Mage can heal himself without any subclass or whatever. Additionally, once per long rest, you can cast Vampiric Touch as if it were a level 9 spell without expending HP. Which is kind of fun. Vampiric Touch, like, it is like, I don't like the spell. I really don't, because it's like a touch spell. And mages want to be like very far away from combat. But I guess, you know, as a level 9 for a level 20 feature, it's okay. And it's like a once in a never kind of situation. So let's get into the subclasses. The first one is like the more support like based subclass, the Chrism Faith Zealot. The Crimson Faith Zealot combines blood magic with religious favor. Like, this is basically like the redemptions one. Like, this is like the more penitent one. Like, this is like the good, the not evil blood mage. You know, like. So at level 2, they learn like one of these like cantrips from Light, Mending, Secret Flames, Spare the Dying, or Word of Radiance, and they add these cleric spells to their blood mage spell list. Now, this is not like free handouts, like you're not getting like free spells. This is like you have to waste one of your like learns per level, and it's basically like just one per level, right? And you have like to describe yourself and do all that stuff. But you get more choices of supportive spells that you can learn when you level up, and you can sort of make like a support blood mage with this, which is pretty nice, right? None of these spells heal or add temporary hit because, again, the blood mage can't do that, right? But they offer supports in other areas. Gee, a little bit of reflux there. I had like some feijoada just like half an hour ago. 6th level, Divine Sacrifice. When you cast a cleric spell using your blood magic, you can choose to sacrifice additional hit points to grant one of the following benefits. Blah blah blah. So you can add like purification. You pay 5 HP, and then you can kill. Like you can heal a status, or you can like spend 5 HP to just grant temporary hit points. Plus, and it's like, it's not like too much. It's like, it's how much is it again? It's your intelligence modifier plus half of your blood mage, which isn't really that much, honestly. And before you go like, wait, what this is temporary HP, you know, like, isn't that broken? Even though it's for an allied. This has limited usage. It's how much is it again? It's a number of times equals to your intelligence modifier, so it's like it would be like up to 5 or something like that, maybe 6 if you really try hard with some items that enhance intelligence. But you can't use it all the time. Still though, it's a very, very good like supportive feature. I mean, geez, like. You are basically like a cleric at this point. It's kind of crazy, actually. Martyr's Shield. This one. Wait, what is it? Oh yeah, this is the one that like reduces damage, isn't it? Yeah, you can use a reaction to magically absorb some damage. The ally gains resistance to that instance of damage, and you take damage equal to that amount. So it's basically like, oh no, someone is going to attack my friend, and he's going to, like, I don't know, he's going to die from that, you know. So you can use a reaction like, no, 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 that's not gonna happen. And yeah, what you do is like take half the damage, but then you can like save your ally. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty interesting. You can use this like a number of times, equal to your constitution, which I don't really know if it's too much, to be honest. But considering that like you don't really get a lot of HP, I don't know. Like it doesn't like you are pretty squishy, and you taking damage instead of your allies could be pretty bad, especially because it's going to like limit how much spells you can cast on your turn. So I feel like having that is okay. I hope I'm not wrong. Martyr's Blessing. Martyr's Blessing. Hold on. Why the stutter? This is like the final like subclass feature. Would reduce. When an ally would be basically killed, you can use a reaction to magically teleport to an occupied space within 5 feet of them. When you do so, you take the damage. Instead of the ally, the damage cannot be reduced or prevented by any way. After you use this feature, both of you and the ally gain resistance to all damage until the end of your next turn. And you can only use this once per long rest, because this is a very good skill. You don't need to do this like, I mean, if you can just spam this, this is bonkers. And it's like part long and not short rest. But again, it's what you want from like a final subclass feature. It's like a really powerful, like, oh hey, this is like my ultimate skill, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, dude, it's what a support class is supposed to do, right? You're supposed to keep people alive. You're supposed to like help people so they don't die. And you're doing exactly that. So this is like a pretty good feature for this class, I believe so. And then we have like the Crimson Fanatic. Like, the idea of the Crimson Fanatic is that like the more damage he takes, the more damage he deals. Which is really dangerous. Please be careful with this subclass. Like, if you try to take damage just so that you can inflict, so you can dish out more damage, you might lose your character. Be careful. I'm telling you, dude. So, starting level 2, when you are below half your maximum hit points, you can add your Constitution modifier to the damage rolls of your spell and deal damage. This is like this is good. This is really good. This is so good. This is so good. For a level 2 feature, this is amazing. This is amazing. Like, for a spellcasting class, this is really good. Hold on, let me do like the math here. Let me do the math. I have like this online like D&D sheets that I use for characters and shit. Hold on. Let me set it up first. But like the idea is that like this is like kind of like high cost, high reward, you know, kind of thing. Like this is why it's so strong. You're in the verge of dying, so you gotta you gotta be strong. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh. So like let's say 16. Let's put like a 16 on. Let's put a 16 on here, and the 14 here, right? And then the 13 is gonna be here, right? And you're gonna be like level 2, right? So you are like, if you're like at this amount of HP, you know, and you know, because I'm kind of nasty. I would give, and this would be a human. This would be like a human variant. I always play as a human. I would have toughness, which increases my level, my HP equal to my level. So I would be like at this amount of HP, right? Okay, so technically I'm at the verge of dying. Any hit I take, I'm probably gonna die. But, bro, at the same time, I'm adding 3 damage to my spells. I can spend like what's a chromatic orb, right? I think it's like 3d8 or something. So I take 1 damage. Now I'm at now I'm at 9. And then I dish out 15 plus 3, 18 damage. I love this subclass, dude. I love it. I love it. It's yeah. This is like similar like to the evocation school of the wizard. It's basically like this is for big damage, but in order to do big damage, you have to have like high reward, high cost, high reward kind of thing. Cause just getting pulled free damage for no reason is just kind of boring in my opinion. But yeah, like this is pretty good. And then like as you like level up, dude. Like now, like my maximum HP is like 48. Which is not even that bad. And at level 5, I can cast like level 3 spells. So I'd be like, ooh, that was a pretty high roll. So I take like 9 damage, which again is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm on the verge of dying, but I'm adding like 3 damage to this man. This is pretty good, bro. I'm adding 3 damage to fireball. Like I'm down, bro. I'm so down, dude. Where was it? Here. And then 6th level. Starting level 6. When you cast a spell that deals damage using your blood magic, you can choose to expend additional hit points equal to your spell. If you do, you add an extra 1d4 damage per level of that spell to one of the spell's damage roll. This extra damage is on the same type as the same damage. You can use this feature once and regain all spending uses once you finish a short or long rest. This is kind of like to... oh yeah, and then you gain like an additional use of this feature on level 17. This is like kind of like to help you get on the threshold of your like increased damage, because it's kind of hard to get there. And it's kind of like, it's at the same time it's kind of like, if you're not quite there on the threshold, if you're not getting like that much of an advantage out of that, because realistically you don't want to be on the threshold. You are squishy, you are a glass cannon. Every time you're on the threshold, again, you don't have armor, you don't have anything, you are on the verge of dying. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is dangerous. You could lose your character if you don't know how to position yourself correctly in battle. Do not pick the subclass, and probably, do not pick the subclass if it's your first playthrough. You're not going to have a fun time. You're going to lose your character for sure. But this is like, because you're not realistically going to get like that much of an advantage from this. Like you're not going to get like as much like as often as you would think. You get 1 use, like 1d4 per long rest, right? So yeah. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I could actually pump it to 1d8. If it's like, because it's like, it's only once. I think I could. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pump it to 1d8. I think it's okay. Level 10. Maybe 1d6. 1d6. Yeah, I think I'm going to pump it to 1d6 actually. And no more. Because magic is OP. It's hard to balance, and I don't want to underestimate the power of magic. It's really crazy. Level 10. Determination. Starting at level 10, you have advantage on saving throws against being stunned, paralyzed, or frightened. Additionally, when you are, which is pretty good because they already have like proficiency on these like saving throws. So when you are affected by one of these conditions, you can use your bonus action and spend 10 hit points to end one of these conditions on yourself, which again is kind of good because it is going to help you get to your threshold, which isn't good, but it synergizes, right? And then on level 14, you basically get like a saving throw, like oh, if you're gonna die, you don't die. I have granted you immortality. Congrats, because you have to get to level 14 until this class is like not effectively trying to lose itself. Blood Crystal Master. This should be like bigger actually. This one I just reworked. And this one has been like the hardest subclass to conceptualize. The idea of this subclass is kind of based on like, you know how like on you know, if you watch like Full Metal Alchemist or if you play Tales of Symphony, sometimes they apply like magical stones to their body to enhance their physical capabilities. This is based on that idea, and they do have like the Blood Crystal, which is a magical stone that they can create, and there you go. You know, it's kind of like the Crystal Infusion, Crystal Fusion. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Artificer. I have an Artificer on my table. Enhance your magical, blah blah blah. So you can do what I just said. You can perform a ritual during a long rest to fuse a blood crystal into your body. The ritual consumes a blood crystal, permanently integrating it, or until like permanently until it's broken, right? Because the blood crystal has a number of charges, and yeah, if it's out of charges, you essentially like expanded your blood crystal, right? You can have a maximum of 1 integrated blood crystals at that time at this level. This is kind of convenient actually, because like, you can still like use the charges to pay for blood vials. So at the same time, it's like you're kind of like carrying it, but it's like it's not counting to your weight limit. It's kind of cool actually. You can have a maximum of 1 on this level. While the blood crystal is integrated, you can use the charges to reduce the hit point cost of your blood magic spell. Again, this is like going from the Philosopher's Stone from Full Metal Alchemist kind of idea. You can use the crystals, like now with the subclass, you can actually use the stones to cast spells and not using your HP. So this class... Oh shit. You guys were probably hearing echo, weren't you? Sorry about that. So like now, what you can do is you can cast magic using your stone, and it's basically like the opposite of the Crimson Fanatic, because the Fanatic is like basically like, oh, he's offing himself to deal more damage. You are unoffing yourself. You are like not losing HP for no reason. You're maintaining your HP, basically. Which is really good. It's so good. But then again, if you use too much, you're going to expand your stone, and you don't really want to do that. So it's kind of like a tricky balance. Oh yeah, and then each stone that you apply to your body, you can get one of these like for each stone, you can have like up to 3, by the way. For each stone, you can get one of these advantages. You can get like +1 bonus to spell attack rolls. You can get maximum hit point increase, which is pretty good for this class. Movement speed increase, which, like, to me, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, this is kind of good if you're doing like the disengage, if you're like poorly positioned, or if you're getting like kind of ambushed and you're just trying to disengage into your like behind your front line. But I don't know, like maybe there is usage for this. Like, I don't know, like I guess like some expert player can find like very good usage of this. And in case you're like this is like pretty good. You get like dark vision to 60 feet, and if your race already has dark vision, which a lot of races do, you get plus 30 feet of dark vision. So it's pretty good deal, you know. Limits requires a ritual during a long rest. You can change the chosen enhancement. Blah blah blah. Yeah, you can swap, by the way. But usually you probably want to have. I mean, let's be honest, right? You want to have the vital fortification and the spell attack bonus. Like, these are where it's at, right? You don't want to miss early levels, and you don't want to die. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But again, I'm not saying this is bad. This is useful. This is good. This is also very good. You know. 6th level, you can now integrate a second. And then you choose a different, obviously. Resonant casting. When you cast a spell using your blood magic, you can choose to expand charges from your integrated blood crystal to empower the spell. So you can now use your charges to like cast them. Oh, it's saying right here, right? You can deal like an extra 1d4 damage. It's very similar to the thing that you could do here, but now you're spending like blood crystals instead. And you are using like a finite resource, which is like the charges, right? Oh, and there is like a limit to how much times you can use this, by the way, per rest. Actually, no, there isn't. There should be. Yeah, there should be. Yeah, I'm gonna... Sorry. I think I forgot to add. There should be like... This should be like once per rest as well. For the same reason as this is once per rest, right? Level 10... Actually, I'm gonna do it right now. There. You can only gain this effect once per long rest. There. Level 14, you can now integrate a third blood, blah blah blah, and then you choose a third one, and then, again, this is like your ultimatum. As an action, you can enter a state of overcharge for 1 minute. This is basically like a transformation, like a, kind of like the Barbarian Fury. You gain +2 bonus to your AC, which is like, it's a little bonus, so you can go kind of crazy with your transformation. Your spells deal an extra 1d6 damage. And you have advantage on Constitution saving throws. But then, this lasts like for 1 minute, and after that, you get like 1 level of exhaustion, and you can only use this once per long rest. So, this is pretty much all that matters. And this other like things are basically like to account for player misplay. Right? Because we know them players, right? We know players. We know players. We know players so well. Misplays happen. We understand. We've been there. We do it all the time. We're only human. You know what I'm saying? There's like a little bullet point here that doesn't go anywhere. Blood Sword. This is like the Spell Sword subclass. I always like when magic classes have like Spell Sword classes. I feel like it's pretty fun. As a starting level 2, you can, as a bonus action, you can create a sword made of blood. Lasts for 1 minute or until you dismiss it. To form the blade, you suffer 1d4, which is basically the cost of a level 1 spell. The damage cannot be reduced, just like the Blood Hunter from Matt Mercer. Blah 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 blah. It is a martial melee weapon, which you are proficient with. You add your proficiency bonus to this, of course. It deals 1d10 slashing damage on a hit. You can use your intelligence modifier for attack and damage. So, same thing as like the blade singing subclass. Instead of strength for dexterity. It's considered a magical weapon for the purposes of overcoming resistances and immunities. If you let go of the damage, it basically like comes back to you like the Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts, or the Jedi lightsaber, but well, kind of. On 6th level, you get an extra attack with the Blood Blade only. This is like kind of like you gotta remember. You only get the extra attack if you are using the Blood Blade. If you're using any other blade, you don't get the extra attack. I wonder if this is like too much, to be honest, because the Pact Blade of the Warlock can be pretty much any blade he so desires, and for the Hex Blade, I do believe, let's take a look, Hex Blade. I do believe that the extra attack is for any weapon. No, never mind. Although, I could. I don't think I would. Okay, let me say one thing, right? So this thing, at level 6, you can use, it's a cantrip or a spell, or any spell. It's a cantrip, okay. Actually, attack twice instead of once whenever you take this action on your turn. Could I do this? I think I could do this, actually. I think it wouldn't be too bad, because it's only 1 damage that he takes. I was afraid that, like, oh, it would be, like, too bad because you're going to take, like, 1d4. But if it's, like, only a cantrip, You know what? Fuck it. Let's rip off this. Yeah, fuck it. Let's just rip off. Shameless rip off. Let's just do it. Hold on. How do I do this? What if I put it on Discord and then copy and paste from Discord? Ah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I guess, you know, like, less is more, you know? Let's not get crazy. Perhaps it was too overbalanced. It was just too overbalanced. Because, like, yeah, it probably is, right? And I feel like you being able to cast, like, a cantrip with your extra attack feels, like, very flavorful. Right? It's not even that good, but it's very flavorful, I feel like. Level 10. Now this is like this is actually like a good feature, especially like because remember the Blood Mage cannot heal. This allows him to heal. When you deal damage to a creature with the Blood Blade, you can regain hit points equal to your Intelligence modifier to a minimum of 1. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now, this is pretty good. And I feel like this could actually be a short rest. But whatever. No, as a long rest is fine. As a long rest is fine. Whatever. This is very good. Because the problem with like spell sword classes is that like you are like very squishy and you're going to like you're going closer than you wish to your opponent's like range. So this is going to help you survive more and better on the midline, basically. And then like for 14, he just gets like the Paladin's Might as a blood variant that but instead of like using spell slots, because he doesn't have spell slots, he uses like a 1d4 damage. He takes 1d4 damage, equal to the level of the smite. Right? So it's pretty good. Like I guess it's not like it doesn't feel like the very like the oh my gosh, this is like the ultimate like it is for the other classes. But again, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a smite. It's a spammable smite. At level 14, you can cast. Level 7 smite. That's like, dude. That's 8d8. It's a lot of damage. Right? So you can hit pretty hard, actually. And you can use that. How many times again? A number of times equals to your Intelligence modifier, and you regain all the uses when you finish a long rest. Yeah, perfect. Like perfect. So yeah, this is pretty good. Necrotic damage is like kind of bad because DMs like to throw a lot of like skulls, zombies, undead, and demons, and they are resistant and sometimes immune to necrotic damage. But something. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. Scarlet Arrows. This class, the picture got cut out here. Let me show you the picture. Right, it's pretty cool. Like this is kind of like Cable, right? Basically, like this is like an idea of mine. Like I was like, what if the Blood Mage could use his blood to create magical ammunition for like ranged weapons, right? So as a level 2, the Scarlet Arrows use a bonus action to create an arrow or a bolt made from your own blood. To create this magical ammunition, you suffer 1 point of damage. The ammunition lasts until the end of your next turn, or until used. When you make a ranged weapon attack with a bow or crossbow using the ammunition, the attack deals an extra 1d6 magical piercing damage, which is a lot. It's a lot. And you add your intelligence modifier to the damage of that attack. Ammunition created by this feature is considered magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attack and damage. So basically what you're doing here is like you're basically like turning your like mage into a single target sniper, basically. You deal a lot of damage to single targets only. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I feel like I should. I will. I will because I am just paranoid. I am paranoid. I am too paranoid. Spellcasters are broken. I'm too paranoid. It's gonna be 1d4 damage. I'm just too paranoid. It's not even that much of a big difference, but it's just... I am really paranoid. I mean, you're doing like plus 1d6 damage. I feel like it's good. I feel like you're getting your worth. Or are you? Because cantrips can deal up to 1d10, right? And on level 5 they deal like... They can do like 2d10. But you're adding like your dexterity modifier, which wouldn't be very good. It would be like 1 or 2. And you're adding your magical, which would be pretty high actually. And if you're like, if you're kind of a jackass, if you're kind of like if you're kind of nasty, you could have like up to both of them 2 plus 5 and deal like plus 10 damage. So 2d6 plus 10. Not on level 2 though. I think could take like some, like at least level 8. If you get like good stats roll. Huh. Still not that good though. Fuck it. Fuck it. Maybe if I go with a D2, like flip a coin. I feel like that would be like ideal. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm overthinking things. I'm probably just overthinking. When you choose your action to make a ranged weapon attack with a bow or a crossbow using a blood arrow, you can create and fire a second blood arrow at the same time. So this is basically like you just go Legolas. You throw like 2 arrows, you know what I'm saying? It's basically like an extra attack for your arrows. But you do not get to add any ability modifier to the second damage. So you're basically just adding like a 2d6 usually, right? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You're dealing more damage. Again, you are a single target cannon, like you're a sniper. You're just like sniping, like you're just like one-shotting enemies with this class. Basically, is what you're doing. Sorry for Discord. Let me put on busy. Now on level 10, infused arrows. Your arrows become more potent. When you create a blood arrow, you can choose to add an extra 1d6 of the following: fire, cold, or lightning. You choose the damage type each time you create the arrow, right? So again, sniping, dealing single target damage. This is elemental damage, which could be kind of bad. Sometimes, like, you know, some monsters in D&D are immune to all of these. So not always you're gonna get like this stuff, like you're gonna get to deal this damage. Usually enemies are resistant to fire, but still something. Rain of arrows, like again, this is like basically your ultimate. You can use your action to unleash a barrage of blood arrows in a 6-foot cone. So like you just like throw like the arrow and then just like a bunch of arrows come out of like your bow. Is pretty cinematic. You suffer damage equal to half of your current hit points, which is a lot, rounded down, which cannot be reduced in any way. Each creature in the area must take a dexterity saving throw or take 66 piercing damage plus 66 of a type. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. To be honest, oh no, yeah, this is like oh yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. This is like 66 magical piercing damage plus 66 damage of one of these 3 elements. So it's basically 12d6. It's a lot of d6. Like let's make like some test rolls here, right? This is kind of insane. This is kind of insane. Boom, 53. Boom, 37. Boom, 45. Boom, 49. It's kind of a lot. Because it's a cone, you can kind of like zone it so that it doesn't hit your allies and can kind of hit all of your opponents. Cones are kind of OP. So it's pretty good, and it gives you something that this subclass does not have, which is AoE damage. So this subclass is like pretty straightforward. It's like single damage, single damage, single damage, AoE ultimate. It's OP. It's good. It's fun. It's a lot of cool stuff. This is like the spell list. You guys can look into it with more detail on the PDF that I'm going to put for you guys to download. Here is what the custom spells do. I kind of feel like I overextended my welcome. This video is probably too long, so I'm not going to get into them. There's a lot to cover here, honestly. So yeah. And copyright disclaimer. This was made by me. Don't steal it. This is the Blood Mage. It's simple, straightforward, hard to play with, fun, and very thematic. Super cool class. Kind of proud of it. Would play again. You know. Tell me what you think of it. You know, feedback is awesome. Criticisms, you can bash me if you want to. I don't mind. Yeah, like this is it. This is the class, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Without further ado, I will see you on the next video. I am currently cooking, though it's still in testing phase. I'm currently cooking the Combat Dancer from Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, trying to bring that as a support martial class in 5e. It's gonna be fun. It's something we don't have in this game, and I feel like it's gonna be awesome. Like the only one we kind of have is Paladin, but Paladin is more like a tank, and she's like more of a middle ranger. So it's gonna be like really fun. I am enjoying making homebrews for D&D. It's being a little bit of a pastime while I figure out how basically create my Porter Guy TCG card game. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.